Hello and welcome to the 7th video of Google Ads Mastery course, and in this video we are going to discuss bidding strategy. Bidding strategy is very important. Now if this course was an automotive engineering degree, this lesson would probably be where we study the functioning of the engines of the cars. So pay attention and do not forget to attempt the quiz for which the link is below. So in the last video, we selected our campaign name and everything, and then we clicked on next, and this is the next step and next setting Google is asking us, which is bidding. So this is the bidding section. Always when you're creating a campaign, in the left navigation panel, you'll be able to see which setting you are on, and we have to do all of this until we finish the review. It shows us, okay, these are the options you selected. You can click publish campaign and the campaign goes live. Okay, right now we are on bidding because we did the first few settings. Now in this section, Google asks you that which bidding strategy do you want to use, and it shows you multiple options here. But before I explain to you what these bidding strategies are, let me first tell you what bidding is. Let's suppose I am working for a dentist and I'm setting up a search campaign for them. Now basically what I want from a search campaign is, if anybody goes to Google, they search for best dentist in Dubai and other keywords, my ad should show on Google search engine result page. So I'll go to Google, I'll search for best dentist in Dubai. I see these ads like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there are organic results and there are other results towards the bottom. It means all these dentist clinics are interested in this particular keyword, which is best dentist in Dubai. But however, you have to understand one thing, there will be even more. There'll be probably tens of clinics who will be bidding on this particular keyword. All of them are interested in showing ads for this particular keyword. How does Google decide that out of these hundreds of clinics, which ads to show here, which one to show on the first place here, second place, third place, which ones to show on the bottom of the page? There are a lot of factors that Google considers, but the biggest of them is actually how much each of these clinics is willing to bid for this keyword. Meaning this clinic says, you know what, I can spend 10 dirhams to get a click for this particular keyword. This probably says I can spend 9, this one says 8, 7, or this one may be 5 or 4. The other clinics which said we want to bid 3 dirhams for a click on this particular keyword, Google doesn't show them. Now you'll be like, okay, now does that mean these ads will always appear? No, because their budget will exhaust after a while. They will have a limited daily budget, and every time there is a search, Google readjusts and sees which one is ready to bid. Maybe for the next hour, Google does not show this ad because they have a limited budget, and Google knows that how many times every hour I will show this particular ad. So it keeps rotating, which we will know in detail. But the point here to understand is all the advertisers who are willing to pay to Google to show their ad or to get clicks for certain keywords, all of them submit that how much money they want to spend. That money they want to spend is actually bidding, and how much they want to bid, how they want to bid, that is what is defined in the bidding strategy. Now, if you observe here, once you click on the drop down option in a search campaign, it gives you these 4 options. So you have to understand one thing, all the 4 options Google gives you, these are basically of 2 types. One is the manual bids and one is the automated bids. Manual bids is straightforward. You manually set your CPC bids. You're like, okay, I want to set my CPC bid, manual bidding strategy. My CPC bid should be 5 dirhams, which means this guy is willing to pay 5 dirhams for every click he receives from this campaign. So a couple of years ago, this was the most commonly used bidding strategy. And actually, like 8 years ago, if you wanted to hire a Google Ads expert, the first thing you'll check about them is how good their manual bidding strategy is. How do they select what bid to select? Because at keyword level, you had to select this CPC bid for every keyword or ad group. And there was a lot of, it used to be hectic. Google slowly started moving towards automation, and now most common and recommended bidding strategies are automated. Automated bidding strategies are basically you tell Google what kind of results you want from your budget, and Google adjusts the CPC bids automatically. Now going back here, the 4 options Google gives you here is conversions, conversion value, clicks, and impression share. There's a rule of thumb that which bidding strategy you should use. Okay, these are the 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now conversions, this is the bidding strategy. If your website has conversion tracking, you can only use this if your website already has conversion tracking set up, which we did when we set up the goal, but does not pass conversion value, for example, leads and registrations. If you cannot associate a particular cost or revenue or sales with a conversion, then you have to use this one. For example, real estate clients, their conversion on their website is somebody filling up the form, but they don't know how much sales or revenue it's going to generate, or there is no direct associated cost or sales which you get from this lead. In those cases, you have the conversion setup done. You can track a goal of how many people filled the lead form, but there is no sales value associated with the conversion. It can be downloads. It can be registrations, how many people registered on the website, or if you are tracking how many people clicked on the WhatsApp icon or call icon on my website, how many people downloaded a brochure. So there's no cost associated with it. That's when you use conversions. Now, a bit advanced, if you are, let's say, for example, an e-commerce website and your conversion is how many people bought a product from your website. Now you can directly associate a sales number with that. Okay, this guy purchased a product which costed him $20. It generated $20 worth of sales for us. It generated $15 worth sales for us. In those cases, you can go for conversion value because you pass the value anyways. Your conversion has a value, right? So this is 2. The third one is clicks. Now this one is primitive. Before few years, a lot of advertisers used to use this. For example, news websites would use this because they would just want to get the traffic to their website, and there was no conversion to count on their websites, right? And a lot of other users used to do it as well, and they used to basically then calculate, okay, out of this traffic, what percentage converts, and they used to accordingly adjust their CPC bids. Now nobody uses it except if you have a limitation. What is the limitation? Now, if you are not able to set up goals or put conversion pixels on your website where you are directing the traffic, then the only option you have is clicks. You'll tell me, how is it possible? For example, if I'm working with Amazon and I have a product listed on Amazon, I want to run ads and move traffic to my Amazon product page. Now, Amazon will not let me put my pixels on the product page. So your ad account is not connected to the website because it's a third-party website. It's not owned by you. It's owned by Amazon. In those cases, people use clicks as an objective or a bidding strategy because they cannot use conversions or conversion value because you cannot put pixels there. Similarly, if you're promoting your social media pages, a lot of people for PR, what they do is they want, okay, if somebody searches for their name, their YouTube page or Facebook page should appear on the top of the Google. Now they create an ad, they redirect traffic to their social media pages wherever they can. But of course, you cannot put conversion pixels on YouTube or Facebook because you don't own that. So that is when you also use this kind of bidding strategy. The fourth one is impression share. So in this one, what happens is if a company says, we don't care how many clicks we get, but for any reason, anybody searching for these particular keywords, we just want to appear, our ad should be on the top of the page on Google, or we should always appear, or we should appear 50% of the times. They just focus on appearing on whenever user searches a keyword. That's when you use impression share. Now, some companies test it for their branding setup that, for example, anybody searching for food delivery app, Deliveroo says we should appear on the top because they think it basically gives them awareness as well as consideration that people think whenever we search for food delivery ad is on the top always. It looks like they're the best in this. A lot of companies believe in this and they do this. Or some companies who have very high ticket value, for example, these consulting firms and all, because if they get the conversion, their revenue is like hundreds and thousands of dollars. So they don't really care about conversions and they don't get a lot of conversions. For example, to run a conversion specific campaign or a conversion value specific campaign, you should have at least 5 to 10 conversions every day. But these guys, they get one in a week from this campaign. So that's when they use impression share. The strategies differ. We can talk about it later, but this is to get you idea. So I hope you understand when to use conversion, when to use conversion value. These are the recommended ones because they are automated. So now that it's clear that what these four mean, there is a catch. Now, these 4 bidding strategies appear to be 4, but they are actually 7. Now, how they are 7 is because if you select, let's say, conversions, and if you do not set a target here, it's 1 conversion, it's 1 bidding strategy. If you set a target CPA, it becomes another bidding strategy. Similarly, if you select conversion value, if you do not set a target, it's a different conversion, it's a different bidding strategy. When you select it, it becomes a different strategy. Similarly, for clicks, so these are 6, 3 multiplied by 2, 6. Impression share, there is no target, so There are 7 in total. Now, one thing I would like to mention here is if you have been working on Google Ads for a while, or you have an existing account and you go there to change the setting, you might get confused. A lot of people used to get confused with the previous course of Google Ads we have because Google changed it. But let me show you what I mean. So in any old campaign, if you go to the settings, for example, this is another ad account. There's an old campaign. I click on settings. If you go to the bidding section and you click on change bid strategy, you will see these 4, but you have an option, select bid strategy directly, which is not recommended. And this will go away very soon because Google now moved to this new UI, but they are still keeping the old options there. But this will anyways be deprecated very soon. And in new campaigns, you don't even get this option. But I'm just mentioning this if you are confused, if you have experience on Google Ads or an existing campaign, then you might get confused. So in the drop down, you will see these 7. But these 7 now exist as well. It's just how Google is showing them is different. So if you set a target, it becomes a different bidding strategy. If you don't, it becomes a different one. Okay. So that aside, let me now show you how they are different, these 4. Okay. So for that, I created this beautiful table. Now, if you see here, these are the 4 bidding strategy options you get now here, right? These are the 4. Now, I have divided these 4 into subtypes when you use a limit, when you don't use a limit. So impression share, there's no limit. So they become 7. Okay. Now let's go through each of them one by one. I want you to remember this by heart. Now, when you use conversion as bidding strategy, if you do not use a limit, meaning you select conversions, but you do not set a limit, it becomes an automated bidding strategy. Why it's called automated bidding strategy is because you give a budget, a campaign budget to Google, which we will set up later in the campaign settings. And you tell Google that you select the CPC bid. Google will automatically keep changing it based on what goal you have, which will be clear in a while. How this one works is when you have conversions and you do not set a limit, you tell Google maximize conversions within the budget. Meaning you tell Google that if you set your campaign budget to 100 dirhams per day, you tell Google spend it all. The priority is spend the whole budget and get me as many conversions as possible. Sometimes you can get 0 conversions and Google will keep spending your daily budget every day. Sometimes you'll get 10, 5, whatever, right? But the priority is Google will always spend your budget. Before, in the old setup, it was called maximize conversions. So these are the old 7 ones if you are getting confused. So it was called maximize conversions. Now, if you set conversions as your bidding strategy here and you set a limit, whatever limit you set, so it becomes this one, conversions with limit, and it's still an automated bidding strategy. But how it works is maximize conversions within the target CPA, might not spend. What it means is you tell Google, if you select this bidding strategy and you set a particular limit here, which is called target CPA, TCPA, you tell Google that spend my budget only if you are able to get this target CPA, meaning target cost per acquisition. If your campaign daily budget is, let's say, 100 dirhams and you set TCPA as 10 dirhams, you are telling Google that, okay, you know what, spend my budget and each conversion costs me average of 10 dirhams or lower. So meaning, if you set this bidding strategy, Google will always try to get you, let's say if you have 100 dirhams of budget, will always try to get you 10 conversions every day because your TCPA you have set is 10 dirhams. If Google thinks it's not possible or it's too tough to achieve, your budget might not be spent. So you will have underspent every day. And previously, this bidding strategy was called target CPA. Similarly, if you select conversion value and you don't select a limit here, then it becomes maximize conversion value within the budget. Because in this case, you are an e-commerce website, you are passing the conversion value. Google knows how much was spent. Google knows how many purchases were done and how much money was spent. So you're telling Google that spend my money and try to generate as many sales as possible. The priority here again is spending the budget, and sometimes Google will spend your whole budget and you might get 0 sales. But Google doesn't worry because it will keep spending. It will try to get you as much sales as possible, but there's no restriction as such. And it was called maximize conversion value before. And if you set a limit in conversion value, meaning you select conversion value as bidding strategy and you set a limit, let's say 300%, right? Because in this you set a target ROAS, which means return on ad spend. And it becomes maximize conversion value with ROAS, might not spend. Same thing, you are telling Google that in this case, spend my budget in a way that For every 1 dirham you spend, I should get 3 dirham sales. If your ROAS is 500%, which means whatever you're spending on Google, you want to generate 5 times more sales. Sometimes somebody can say not in percentage, they can say ROAS of 3x, which means actually 300%. Or ROAS, meaning 3x, is if I spend 1 dirham, I should get 3 dirhams in sales. As simple as that. And this bidding strategy was called target ROAS before in the old UI. And then we have clicks. If you select clicks as your bidding strategy here, and you do not select a limit, it's still an automated bidding strategy. What it means is maximize clicks within the budget. You're telling Google, okay, you know what? This is my campaign budget. Spend as much, all of it, and try to get me as many clicks as possible. There's no restriction as such. But if you select limit, you use clicks as the bidding strategy and you select limit as whatever. For example, here I'll select clicks, I'll say 2, which means you're telling Google that every click I should get for 2 dirhams or less. Then it becomes a manual bidding strategy, and how it works is maximizing clicks within CPC. Google will try to give you as many clicks as possible, but it will always generate clicks within your target. And in this case, same thing, it might not spend, because if Google thinks that the target CPC you have set is very tight, Google will not spend it. And previously it was called manual CPC. Now, one thing to remember here, in all automated bidding strategies, if you select any of them, Google will automatically basically set a bidding for your campaign, sometimes high, sometimes low, depending on what bidding strategy you have selected and what your goal here is. And Google will try to get you that goal and adjust the CPC accordingly. And it's very strong at it. Basically, the algorithm behind it is very, very strong. And the last one is impression share, and it's purely a manual bidding strategy. So what it means is spend budget to achieve target impression share, might exhaust budget soon, need to ensure you need to have enough budget. And this bidding strategy was previously called target impression share. I'll show you the options here are a bit different. So if I select impression share, it will ask me, where do you want your ads to appear? I get options like anywhere on the page, top of the result page, absolute top. So if you want to set target impression share as your bidding strategy, this means absolute top. You're telling Google that I should always appear on this place, or don't show my ad, right? On top of the page, meaning I should appear in any of these 3 or 4 ads. This is the top, because there are ads on the bottom as well. So you're saying if you select this option here, meaning top of the results page, then you're telling Google it's okay if I can appear here, here, here. So depending on wherever you get a chance, show me anywhere. And then the third option is anywhere on the results page, meaning you're telling Google you can show my ad here or bottom of the page. It's okay with me. Okay. But then you select the other options, which is, for example, if I say top of the results page, then it's asking you percentage impression share to target. Now I can select 100. But if my budget is low, that's why it's a manual bidding strategy. One thing you have to understand here is, which I mentioned here, is you need to ensure you have enough budget. What it means is if you're selecting 100% and your budget is, let's say, 1,000 dirhams, Google will try to run your ads and show on all the searches. But if, for example, your budget exhausts by 10 a.m., Google will not show your ads for the rest of the day. So you basically need to keep a track of that and make sure that for this percentage you want to appear, how much budget you should have daily. You can select any percentage. Some people say I want to appear 100% of the time. Some say, okay, at least half of the searches I want to be appear whenever somebody searches for my keywords on top of the page, whatever options you selected here. Maximum CPC bid you will have to select here as well. Let's say 10 dirhams or whatever. And you need to make sure that whenever you're running this bidding strategy, that for your keywords, your maximum CPC bid is such that you are competing and you're on basically in the top advertisers to pay for this keyword. That's why it's a manual bidding strategy. So in my case, what I'll do is I'll select conversions. Now you might ask me, why don't I select conversion value? Because the sales on my website, anyways, there is an associated value. If somebody buys a course, we know that it's $34 or $30 or whatever. Now, the problem is, this is the first time I'm setting up the campaign for my website in this ad account and this campaign. Now, what Google recommends is if you're using conversion value, you at least need to have, okay, it appeared here, account that your conversion tracking has received 15 conversion in the last 30 days, meaning you should only use this as conversion, your bidding strategy, if your account has already received 15 conversion in the last 30 days, which I haven't because this is the first campaign. So always in those cases, select conversions as your goal, even if you have to use conversion value. But later, once your campaign runs, you generate 15 conversions in the last 30 days. You can do it your campaign might do it in 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Whenever you do that, then you can move to conversion values, because you can change these settings later in the campaign as well. So I'll select conversions here, set a target cost per action. So I would recommend, if you're doing it for the first time, set it up very, very high. For example, in my case, my average course value is 100 dirhams. I'm okay as far as my campaign spends 100 dirhams and generates 100 dirham of sales, because it's in learning phase. So I'll keep it as high as possible. Now, once the campaign starts running, it starts generating results, then I can come here, change in the settings, reduce it to 90, 80, 70, 60, whatever. And I see at what point the campaign stops spending. So that's basically called the optimization point. That's what optimization is. But that's what I would suggest you if you're running a new campaign. And then it's saying optimize campaign for acquiring new customers. This is a new setting in Google Ads. What it basically means is, if you're in a business where you want to target only new customers through your paid campaigns, then you can select this option. For example, if you're a real estate agency, you're working on a particular project and it's a campaign for that particular project. If you have already received leads and they're still searching on Google for, let's say, MR apartments in this particular project, and you don't want to show your ads and spend your money to show them to them because they're already your customers, they have already submitted the lead, then you select this option and then you go here and you say only bid new customers. This will make sure that your campaign is only visible to new ones, not your existing customers. Or there's an option that you can bid higher for new customers than your old ones. For example, Amazon might use this, say, okay, people who are using our Amazon app already, who are our existing users, show them the ad. But if they are a new customer, they have never used Amazon before, then we want to bid a bit higher for them. Google will kind of bid a bit higher to make sure that you get new customers as well, because a lot of companies who have growth objectives, they might say, okay, you know what, we want to generate sales. But e-commerce websites do this a lot. But at the same time, with the sales, we want to gather a lot of new customers because they have to show growth and all those stuff. In those examples, this setting is very, very important, and it has these two options as well. So that's all for this video, and once I click on the next, we will go to the campaign settings, the next campaign settings section. But I hope it was very, very clear to you. If not, just have a look at this table and understand what these bidding strategies mean, because this is going to be a very, very important factor in the success of your campaigns. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.